And we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our wonderful Inspire, Innovate, Ignite Conversations that Count panel discussion. We are really so glad that you're here with us, that you're joining us live or watching the replay, because we have some beautiful women from around the world who are coming to share their expertise, their passion, their wisdom on this concept of money, finances, and vibration, and how it all affects and how we can create a new vibration around money. Because I think it's an underlining, a quite common issue around the world about finances, and that we don't have enough. There's a lot of lack, that, we don't have a lot of abundance. Generally, I know there's a lot of people in the world that has a lot of abundance, but how does our vibration affect our abundance? And that's what we're going to find out about today by joining in the panel discussion. And for everyone who is watching, please say hello, pop your name in the comments, and if you have any questions, do ask. So my name's Sophia Sola. I have the honor of facilitating today's panel, all about creating a new vibration around money, because a lot of it also has a lot to do with our conditioning. But let's get into the panel and introduce these beautiful people that are joining us. So first, can we please say hello to Tanga, the money coach? Thank you for joining us, Tanga. Do you want to say a quick hello, Tanga, and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, hi everyone. I'm Tanga, the money emotional intelligence coach. Someone said to me, "What's emotions got to do with money?" Everything. So my background is I'm actually a qualified financial counselor, and I moved into that field after losing all of our finances about 18 years ago after being diagnosed with breast cancer. And that was, a lot of people would be surprised to hear that, because that was despite having worked in the banking industry for a couple of decades. So what that did was it sent me on a really big lived experience around why the heck couldn't we hold on to anything? Why were we living on so much credit when I was supposedly had all this education around money? And it actually turned out to be a bit of a blessing, because it helped me understand that money actually goes much deeper than what most people are taught in the current indoctrination, I'll call it, of money literacy as we've known it. So that's my background. That's what I love to bring to the table. And so I work with communities, many people that have tried budgeting and just don't know why this thing doesn't work, or they're self-sabotaging. That's the sort of work that we do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we are looking forward to hearing more about that. And totally, emotions and money absolutely go hand in hand. Charlotte, thank you so much for joining us from Sydney. Tell us about you and how, and your passion with money and or vibrations.
So, yes, I'm in Sydney, and I'm a medical herbalist and also a healer. And I treat a lot of different situations with people. It can be relationships and lots of different things, but also a lot to do with money. Because at the moment in our society, we need money to be able to have a certain degree of freedom. We need money to be able to purchase things at the moment. That's just how it is. It's a currency, but it's also an energy. So I work with the energy of money. I work with people's energy. And again, coming back to the emotions, incredibly important. Also, what they're thinking, what are their thought patterns in relation to money? So I look at all those things with people, and then allow them to progress forward and clear some of the negative patterns that might have accrued over time, or that they've inherited.
Thank you. Thank you. And looking forward to that, especially the negative patterns that we inherit that we're not even aware of so much. So thank you for that. Lily, what about your beautiful self? And thank you so much for joining us with the wonderful technology.
It's very interesting what you both said, actually. My mother was a physician, 3 disciplines. She was phenomenally smart. She learned about finances. She taught me to go to the financial meetings with her financial planner. And I learned a tremendous amount from my mother to budget, exactly what you said, not waste things, Taga. So that there would never be a lack. Because in the beginning, I made all sorts of mistakes and overspent, had too much stuff. And she said, Lily, you're going to quickly end up on the street if you keep this up. So she was really blunt, and she said, this is what you have to do. You have to learn to cook. You have to budget. You have to not, have some savings. And from her learning, and from my sister too, actually, I have sold, given away stuff. I know exactly what you mean about the money being an energy. I agree. And I always believe I have enough, or more than enough, that the world has more than enough. I pray every day that everybody gets what they want, need, or have. And I consistently say I have it. Not that I want it, but I have lots of money. I have currency. I have blessings. And I thank God for everything I have every day. And I think that's helped raise the vibration so that I'm not in lack. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's been a huge help. But thank you.
Thank you for sharing it, and I look forward to chatting with you more and getting to know you on this, on this panel discussion and sharing everything that you've learned. Sarah, last but not least, tell us about your beautiful self and what interests you in our topic today.
Awesome. So my name is Sarah Lyons, and I help visionary women tap into that super conscious creation to manifest the life and business of their dreams. And we do that using the sacred money archetypes and sacred soul alignments. I'm really passionate about this topic because, for the best part of my whole life up until 30 years old, we lived below the poverty line. I watched mum lose houses through, gambling. I had my own addictions that took me down the path of just, having nothing, losing everything, having nothing, till I had my spiritual awakening and realized all these beautiful energetics, everything is energy, success and money and abundance. It's all an inside job. So for the last 10 years, I've made it my mission to learn this and learn what needs to clear. Where are the money leaks? How can we activate wealth codes? And now I get to share this with the other beautiful women in my life.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm just checking in on the comments. We do have people watching us. We do have someone who's saying, hello, hi, ladies. Thank you for watching us. Not sure who this is because we're using Restream. Please pop your name in the comments. Let me just have a very quick look, because if it is who I think it is, I just want to acknowledge our wonderful Alison, who we're supposed to facilitate today, but hasn't been able to. So I just wanted to make sure on that. But now let's get back to our panel. And Sarah, because you were the last person who spoke, I'd like to start with you, if that's okay. And we're just going to we do have a guest coming today, Tiffany, who's joining us. And I didn't turn off that buzzer, but that's okay. Now, Sarah, may I ask you, how do you define your relationship with money, and in what way has it evolved over time?
Yes, my relationship with money is so much more beautiful and calm today. I understand that money flows to me through source or creator or whatever you want to call it, not actual people. So getting out of my own way and wanting to know how it was all happening for me has been a really big part of my evolution. Clearing those money blocks, the money leaks, like I said, starting 10 years ago, the ancestral wounds, those money wounds, all the ways these wounds and blocks show up in our lives. Like I said, I've made it my mission to clear these over the years. And today I don't see money as something that's hard or I need. It's more of a friendship, if you want to call it that. And it just feels so much more easy and light to allow that money in.
Yeah, thank you. And I love how you're talking about, having a friendship with money. So many people, it's like got to avoid money type of thing. I don't like it. Money doesn't like me. I don't like money. You avoid checking the bank, you avoid paying your bills, you avoid all that. I love it to totally change that around and be friends with money. Thank you for sharing that. And just want to welcome Tiffany. Thank you for joining us. You're more than welcome. If you have any comments, pop them in the chat, or even just raise your hand if you have any comments that you'd like to share, or if you have any questions, please do that. So thank you. All right, now Tanga, can we ask you, because I know you've got a little bit of a story that you started to share, but I'd love to go into it a little bit more. How has your relationship with money evolved over time?
I think probably the biggest thing for me is healing. And it's not even healing money. It's not healing narratives. It's healing my inner self and the issues that I discovered that weren't solved by a budget sheet or some sort of financial planner saying you should do money this way. It was more about my lack of worth, self-worth. And as we start, and for someone that's been corporate background, that was just like, oh, that's just woo-woo stuff. You just got to do the budget and stick to the budget. And that's the narrative that's out there. I've heard it even come through here earlier, is get your finances in order by sticking to your budget. Get your weight down by sticking to a diet, and what we tend to do is that strong masculine patriarchal teaching that is all focused on action. I discovered that there's actually a divine feminine side that we get to rebalance that, and I feel like the shift is happening already, and to allow that the emotional side and our bodies. We've talked about generational trauma. I very much have landed in the trauma space.
Yes.
I've begun to understand that actually, even my cancer is related to over drinking, overstressed, eating too much. Like all of those things were. We hear the saying, how we do one thing is how we do all things, right? And money is just another version or outcome of what's going on deeper in our lives. And that's the piece that I've come into, is to understand, okay, well, what's trauma got to do with it? And we explore all the different systemic traumas that have actually contributed. We don't even realize that that's playing very deep in this iceberg model. So we talk about our narratives, which sit just below the surface. We talk about behaviors and people doing affirmations and putting things in lipstick on the mirror. And that's what I was doing, because there's a lot of shame, particularly for me, because I had a banking background, for goodness sake. And so there was a lot of shame when things just fell apart. Couldn't talk to anyone about it. I didn't want to tell everyone that I screwed up with my finances. And by the way, that was our family finances. There's a lot of heaviness and shame. And so when we start to see this really reverberate through community and the different places that I've worked with people, you start to think, holy heck, we've just come through a pandemic and I've seen exactly the same heaviness and the shame that goes around. What? You still couldn't make your loan repayment even though you lost your job because of something that was outside of your control? So I guess I've gone a really big, long way around answering that, Sophia, but it really is deeper than what any of us even realize. We've touched on one avenue here is generational and ancestral. Yes, there's a lot of that. There's also, extractive capitalism that's all around us, and consumerism that tells us, in order for you to belong in society, you need to look a certain way. So I'm buying the hair straightener and this, all these things so that I feel accepted in community. What does that do? That costs money. So I'm going on a little spiel there.
Absolutely. That's okay. But thank you for sharing that, because it's so true. We live in a world where we're supposed to look a certain way, have a certain amount of money, we don't, whether, and there's such a divide between people who don't have a lot. They might be extremely happy. I mean, I remember when I first started to go to India, and I'd be in the villages where they have nothing, no money, nothing, no belongings, just a hut, but they were so happy. And then you go right to the other side where you've got people who are, a lot of money, but they're not happy. And all these societal things, which I'd love to get in more. Right, love to. Got lots of questions, so thank you for sharing that, Tanga. Now, Charlotte, can I ask you, and with the defining your relationship with money and how it has evolved, but would you like to share any personal experiences where you've actually focused or practiced changing your vibrational energy and how it has impacted your financial situation?
Well, firstly, I would say that when I was growing up, I didn't think about money at all. And I didn't think about money for a lot of my life because I think I was basing my life on my passion. So when I was 12, I just developed this passion for herbs. And I, had my herb garden, and I went through from there to become a herbalist and things like that. And when I was following my passion, even when I was responsible for my own finances, the money just flowed in. It just came. And I didn't even think about money. It didn't even occur to me. It was just in my bank account. I would use it. If I needed to do something, it was there. I realized that when I've had problems with money, it's when I've been at the crossroads and I've been thinking, I'm not quite sure where I'm going next. And I'm hesitant. So for me, when I'm following my passion, money does not seem to be an issue at all. There was one time where I was at a crossroads and I had a visa bill that I had to pay in the UK. And I was working in Japan at the time, and I had a friend in Japan who had also got quite a large visa bill or debt to pay. She had it because she'd used the money for training. So she was in the massage area, body work. And so she used to go to America and get all this training, and she had spent this money. And she was just, stressed and bemoaning the fact that she didn't seem to be able to pay off this debt. So I had a debt to pay as well. So the irony of it was interesting. So I thought about it and I thought, okay, what I'm going to do, I know sometimes when you get stuck, if you actually give out to others, if you're altruistic, it can actually shift things if you're not able to do that yourself. So I thought, okay, so I offered her once a month coaching session for 6 months to work on paying back her visa debt. And during that 6 months, she progressed quite well, and that was great. But I still had my visa debt at the end. But then a couple of months later, I had this amazing phone call, and it came out of the blue. About 5 years before, my husband and I had gone to Uganda. And we had decided with a couple of friends to build this school in Uganda. Yes, I know it's a bit strange. Decided to build this school. And they already had the land, and next came the building with the foundation. And so we sent money over to start building that. So it was built. And unfortunately, after that, the council decided that the rules were going to be changed, or they wanted to change the regulations around building schools. And it sort of came or ground to a halt. So David and I, my husband and I, thought, okay, well, that's the money gone. Okay, we tried. It was, a project that didn't come to fruition, isn't going to come to fruition. So I just put it back in the back of my mind, just lost that money. Now, the funny thing is, those few months after I'd helped this friend with her visa debt, our friend from Uganda called and he said, can I have your bank account details? Because I want to give you your capital back. But not only that, what he'd done is he'd put it in a high interest account. So I not only got the capital back, but also almost double the amount that we'd put in the first place. And it absolutely paid off the visa bill, but other things beside. So you know, that's one of my stories about if you're getting stuck personally, think about
And
energy for others, giving to others, and it can make a miraculous difference.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Charlotte. And it is so true, and doesn't matter how, because, we can, yes, we can help people with money, but also just energy, because money is energy. So you're helping people with your friend with your time. And thank you for sharing that. It is wonderful. Thank you ever so much. And Lily, what about you? What about your beautiful self? Do you have any experiences where you've again purposely changed your vibrational energy
I
and how
have.
it's impacted your financial situation?
So way back when I was a psychologist, I am not now. I was it for 24 years. That's why I put the side E. There was a point where I was treating lower, what's called Medi-Cal or Medicaid patients, and they typically had less money. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of dressing down like for a short period of time until someone pointed out, and another psychic, another medium said, always dress your best because it attracts money. If you dress rich at the best you can, you attract money. And I thought, bells went off. So I immediately changed my dress to become more professional. I put a jacket, I put jewelry, I put stuff, just to dress it up. And immediately the clientele sort of had more money. That's one example. And then the other was when The Secret came out. Well, actually, when I found The Secret, I will put it that way, in 2006, I realized my worry and my fears about my life were creating some problems. And I reversed it by writing out an affirmation list of what I wanted to think, what I wanted to have happen. And within 3 days, I mean, it was so dramatic for me. I started to think positively automatically instead of worrying. And then my checks came from the insurance company faster. My neighbors were nice. I found the boyfriend that I had for 2 years. We talked about marriage. I mean, my mother was suddenly nicer to me. It was a real decision on my part to stop worrying and to start believing. And it just took over. And even when we had the 2008, when we had the trash of the market, I told myself, well, I don't know how I'm going to keep this practice open. And then I talked with people and they said, well, get a second job. And I thought, this is going to sound so stupid getting a second job being a doctor. But I thought, you know what? Suck it up. You're going to do it. So I applied for secretarial jobs. I applied for you name it. I applied for it. Okay. Retail practice till the end. When I stopped and I had a disagreement, I then became a spiritual life coach and discussed with people about, what jobs to take, or I was really good with timing. So I would help them with relationships and how to get the soulmate and so forth. But I think the decision that I was rich, that I would have money, that God had given me this space, and I was very lucky. I had a parent that was, if I couldn't make a bill, she would pay for it because she was so proud of the fact that I was trying to help society. My mother was really kind of philanthropic. She was a psychiatrist and a pediatrician and an internist. And so she's like, no, I just need you to keep doing it because you're doing something good. So I was blessed to have that, but I kept thinking, how can I make my vibration different so that I don't need the help? And I kept telling myself, and then I started affirming it. I said, money's exactly what you said. Money's my friend. It's an exchange, and I will always have enough of it, and I can stand on my own feet. And I just kept affirming it. And then suddenly the money shifted and I got more clients. My investments went up. I was able to save more. It was a decision on my part I had faced my fear. My fear was to end up homeless and be totally out of luck. And I thought, Lily, suck it up. What's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is your sister doesn't help you. You don't have a husband. You end up in a shelter. You'll deal. Somebody may kill you, but you know what? You're going to be fine because you've trusted in God. Once I said that to myself, it's like it disappeared. Like the problems went right out the door because I faced the fear. I had told myself that you can live in a thing. It doesn't matter what anybody believes or says about you. You know you're a good person. You know you're smart. You know you tried your best. And once I made that decision, money definitely increased for me. And I believe what you said. It's all energy. And I believe what Charlotte said too. It's a decision to help others. So I tithed and I gave to the church, even though I had like very little compared to other people. I would still give the $10. People laughed at me. I didn't care. I was doing it because I was trying to show God, like, I believe you can do it. And it just kept going up.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it is such a wonderful reminder that it's what we believe. really comes down to that. So thank you for sharing that. And Tiffany, before we go on to our next
To
question.
get this out because of what you said, Charlotte, about giving when you don't have and changing the vibration. So a lot of these cards, I just recommend this if you guys haven't seen it, the Angels of Abundance, and it has like common, financial energy ideas, and there's 44 cards. Just wanted to what I was looking for. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And maybe if we've got time at the end, we can go through it a little bit more. So just before we go on to our next questions, Tiffany, would you like to add anything, share anything? Do you have any of your experiences of how you've been able to change your financial situation through vibration?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in poverty. I am Native American, so we went through the genocide in the 50s. A lot of natives were sent to like be housekeepers and like cooks and stuff like that. So those are very low paying jobs, and most natives live in poverty, even today. So, which is resulting from the trauma of genocide, which I learned now. But growing up, I didn't know anything about that. I just knew we were poor. And we had lack of money. So to me, money, there was it just wasn't there. So
Yeah.
it's not like money was my friend or, it's just absence of money. So we had like lack of options, lack of choice. We had like for school I had to shop at thrift stores and the tribe would give out clothing. So we'd get that. And so I grew up very poor and on commodities, like US government rations. And then but I just remember thinking, when I grow up, one day I'm going to have a house. When I grow up, things are going to be different. So I stayed away from anything that would deter me. Like I would hang around people who had like healthy lifestyles where I didn't have that at home. I didn't have structure. It was chaos. But I would go around people who would have like healthy lifestyles and then just watch them and learn from them. And then I went to church in my early 20s to just again be around healthy life to see and then I noticed a difference between people in poverty, the like vibration, which I could say that now, but I didn't know that's what it was then, right? But then being around people with money, which now I've been around people who are like multimillionaires, but they have a totally different energy. Like it's freedom, they're not worried about things. Whereas before, it's like my family didn't help me with anything. Both my parents passed away when I was young. My grandparents passed away, so I don't have a family support. So just it's like the pandemic totally changed things to where I just had downtime to be able to study about manifestation, vibration. And so now like we went from being in debt to paying off all our debt because I'm married and I have 2 adult children, paying off all our debt, helping them buy cars, paying off our cars. We went from living paycheck to paycheck to having like now we have a huge savings account, so and
Yeah.
it just became studying I guess law of attraction, vibration, meditation, but I'm still not where I want to be, I still want to buy a house and yeah.
But congratulations. First of all, thank you for sharing it. And congratulations for being where you are now, but knowing that you're still going, but really being able to, focus on the law of attraction, as you're saying, and everything else. And I just want to point out, thank you for sharing it, because there's a big thing about, we become very much like the people that we associate with. So you were able to make that decision to be around people who you want to become like. So thank you for sharing that, Tiffany. Really, really appreciate it. Love to talk to you more after. But right now, I just want to go back to Sarah, because Sarah, I'd like to take this a little bit through. You were talking about energy beforehand and helping people and businesses with energy and things. But let's talk about this concept of scarcity versus abundance, because again, that's an energy thing, and the mindset that we have around that, and how does that affect our vibration and our finances?
Mm. Oh, this is a big one. I see lots of, I've been there myself. You literally cannot manifest in the energy of scarcity. You can start shifting out of it and see beautiful incremental changes, which open it up and up and up. But when you're in that scarcity, you've got the need, the desperation energies. It is literally impossible to bring through what you want, because you're so focused on these heavy, dense, low vibrational energies down here, complete opposite to where we want to be. And this takes a level of having faith. And I say to my clients, why don't you just have the faith anyway? You've got nothing to lose. And I love the law of assumption, where you literally just assume it's coming anyway. You've got nothing to lose by assuming it's coming anyway. Now, the caveat to that is some of us are so far into scarcity, it's very difficult to shift out of that. But like I said, just make the incremental shifts in your mindset, in your energy, and it pays off. Like I said, 10 years ago, I was living in my car. I had nothing. I'd lost everything. And I just started studying, again, the law of attraction, universal law. How does my mindset affect my reality? It's everything. So have I answered your question? I don't know if I should keep going or
no, you have. So thank you for sharing that. And it's so true, it's law of attraction, and it's our mindset that affects everything. Sometimes we forget that we have constant, these underlying unconscious thoughts that are going through that we're not even all aware of, but affects our conscious life. And it's like what we're putting out is what we're getting back in thoughts. And sometimes we totally forget that. We blame everything else, but we forget to check our mind. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And would anyone else, Tanga or Charlotte or even Lily, do you have anything else that you would like to share, about this concept of scarcity versus the abundance mindset? And how can we actually change that? How can we actually turn that around so it affects our financial well-being?
I can say something.
Yeah.
So what I did, which was a huge shift for me, was instead of saying I want, or if I was having a fear or a problem with something, I would say I have it, or I would pray, or I would intend that it would be the opposite. So instead of lack, I would say I have all this money, and then I would thank God literally for everything, for the electricity, the floor, the house, the doors, the wall, my neighbors, the fresh air, the bathroom. I literally went through such a litany, and I would do it so strongly. Things just kept coming because the gratitude was there, that energy shift. And I said, I have so much, I've got so much, I'm able to talk, I have a body, I have face. Some people don't have it. I'd seen people without faces or limbs or whatever during my work. And I thought, Lily, you have no problems. You better suck it up and just start getting to it. So I really had a good talk to myself and would put myself in that focus. And then it seemed like I had so much, especially when I think my work really jolted me. I would see people with so little, like you said, Tiffany, where your family's lost, because I've lost both my parents and my grandparents, but I'm very lucky. I have an extended family. And so I have cousins, I have real, there's relationships there. So once you shift it to you have, and you have so much and you're blessed, instead of saying, oh, poor me, because I don't have a Maserati, the vibration shifts so much, you suddenly do get things that you unexpectedly get,
Thank you.
That's what I could share.
Yeah, and thank you. And again, it's so true. So ditto to everything that you said. Just focusing on what we do have, even if it's the little things like a floor. I mean, how much are we grateful that we actually have floors? There's a lot of people in the world that doesn't even have.
He fell through the floor. He was 400 pounds. They had a floor in the apartment and he fell through the floor. And I said, oh my God, Lily. So when I was thanking God for the floor, I wasn't kidding. I mean, the poor guy had to get the thing fixed. He had to talk to his friend. I mean, it was a huge embarrassment. And I thought, wow, like that's just crazy. Like, you know what I mean? So yes, I'm talking everything.
Thank you for sharing that. All right.
I would say that interestingly, with The Secret, we've already talked about it earlier. I know that there were some people after that film came out that was because they were so excited about the concept, which is, you know, fabulous. They actually later on got very depressed. And I think there were even circles and groups for people who are depressed post The Secret. And so I think that, yes, it's incredibly positive to be affirmative, you know, and to say what you want and everything. But if there is a program, and a subconscious program that's very negative, you do need to clear it.
Yes.
So whether you do that through meditation or whether you come and have healing with somebody, you know, that's what I work with people a lot on, clearing their negative beliefs so they can fill it with what they actually want. Yeah. So I think it's really important to get that balance. And when people are being positive and then coming up short and feeling very disappointed, you need to then bury deeper and go, okay, we maybe do need to clear some ancestral beliefs or a belief that, you know, your teacher instilled in you when you were 4.
Right. No, agreed. And EMDR, just, you know, eye movement desensitization reprocessing is excellent. Yes. I love doing that. It would clear everything out of me, it would clear stuff from my clients. It was a rapid technique to clear trauma or like fix beliefs, like Charlotte's saying, and you could reprogram yourself to see the situation more realistically, and consequently the person would feel much more confident, much better. I mean, even though I'm at the heaviest I've ever been, and I feel completely beautiful, and I have a wonderful partner. It's so crazy how that's, you know, and it was partly because of EMDR. What happened to...
No, absolutely. I know. I think she'll be coming back, I'm sure. And also the negative energies can store in the body. So, you know, you can look at different organs and you can see the patterns. You can see that, you know, if the kidney energy is low, that often there's fear present, you know, and lack of willpower to be able to be consistent about, you know, I have everything I need, or, you know, I have the house that I've dreamt of. So, you know, clearing the patterns, the organ patterns, I think is also incredibly important.
Agreed. Sorry.
Yes.
I was muted, but
so
yes.
I think we just have to carry on until Sophia, here she is.
Yes, she is.
Sorry so much that yes, everything in my Wi-Fi just died, but that's okay. We are back now, and I apologize for that in major advance, but thank you so much for continuing. Now, Tanga, and I apologize, I just missed the last 60 seconds, but I have a wonderful question for you, if I may, because I want to go into what you were saying at the beginning, you know, like you're in the finance industry, and you had to go bankrupt because of your health and everything else and stuff like that. So what I'd love to know is, how do societal and even cultural beliefs really about money influence us, our personal vibration and the ability to manifest wealth?
Oh, we haven't got enough time for me to answer this, but I'll try, right? So I guess this is one that's impacted me directly. My parents migrated from a village in Western Samoa. Back in the day, it was called Western Samoa, and they migrated to the Big Smoke of Wellington in New Zealand. And the interesting thing there is, you know, they're having to adapt so their money beliefs changed from they had enough in the village to we need a house, we need to work long hours, we need to, you know, be part of community to feel accepted, because in our culture, community is everything, right? We do everything together as a collective. And so what I began to understand was the money literacy that was being taught, not even so much through education, but through society, was really framing the way that they looked at money as well, and the shame that they felt if they didn't have that house and the mortgage and didn't fall into that. And that still continues through the ages. That belief and that shame is still there. And so for me, coming here to Australia and really having to adapt as, you know, where there's a dominant culture, and I'm starting to question, heck, the way that we do money in the islands is everyone shares and we help each other and no one goes out there on their own, no one misses out. It's a collective coming together. We share resources. So when we talk about money, I think resources. It's no different from water and land and all of the things that we count together. And so for me, really being able to integrate both of those energies from my cultural background and adapting to society here has actually been a blessing. In the past, I used to think, oh my gosh, I wish I could have it easy like everyone else. And then I realized, actually, this is part of my lived experience. This is my human experience, is to understand that even when you're not part of the dominant culture, you can make a difference. You can bring all the things that you bring with your background and your culture into the conversation around money, which has really landed where I am now. So I've been a financial counsellor where the focus again has been, oh, you're in a lot of debt, let's get you on a budget. That person comes back in a month's time because they've sabotaged everything that that budget was going to do. And worse yet, that's come with a lot of shame. Are you kidding me? I can't even stick to a budget, even though I'm in this much trouble. So there's that heaviness that comes. And when we talk about trauma and stress, what we know is if you're thinking that this is your brain and scarcity has triggered you, that part of your thinking brain is flipped out. Right? That's the same part of the brain that helps you decide, is this the way that I'm spending money wise or is it not? Right? I'm in a trauma response, whether I'm about to fight someone or freeze or flight, you know, take off, or probably more common is fawning, people pleasing. How many of us do that? We buy things to help others. And, you know, we've worked closely with women that have been in, people that have been involved in domestic violence, right? And often the early signs of that is someone else has got control over your finances, right? So we give away that power. Energetically, I've just given that to you. You deal with it. I'll look after the kids. And now I've disassociated everything to do with that money. So when things go bad and the partner's holding all of the guilt and the shame around that, it's really difficult to have a conversation where both of you are on the same plane. So, you know, this whole idea of energetics with money, 100% totally agree with you, because it's held in our body. So my body is triggered because of something that happened in a village 3 centuries ago, you know, and it's still in there. And that for me, the key has been to notice, how does that turn up for you, Tanga? It turns up in the way that I need to go out and spend and feel good about myself. How do I change that? Maybe I can just walk out by the ocean and get a dopamine hit that way. You know? So we really get to build this discernment muscle, because now that part of my brain is intact. I've settled my system. I've noticed, oh, that's the part of me that wants to be included in society. Okay, what do you need right now? Some love. I can give that to myself and it's free. So I think I've done the whole thing of, you know, culture, society, all of it. That's a big thing. That was a big piece of my puzzle. And interesting is I attract a lot of people that have also struggled with the idea of wealth that's defined by a dominant culture. Let's talk about wealth in the 5th dimension, which is collective wealth. You know, for humanity to rise up to the next level, this is about us tapping into other cultures. There is no right way of doing money. There is a way that we can come together and share each other's experiences and perspectives and raise that vibration together. And that's where I think community and society that has been distracted can come together, and we can all tap into that wealth together. No one gets left behind.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much for sharing that. And I want to continue that with my last question about when we talk about communities coming together. So please let's just park that just for a little second, please. But I'll just, before we do that, I'd love to ask to go to Charlotte at least to start with, and then everyone else. Because Charlotte, you were talking about, how we've really got to, you help people release the underlying beliefs, the underlying things that can affect our energy, our vibration. And I know, from everyone's sharing, a lot of it can even be ancestral things that we've got no idea what's happened, but yet in previous generations, but yet it's affecting us now. So, Charlotte, how can we work? What can we do to release these deep-seated negative beliefs and really that affect our vibration and turn that around?
I mean, there are so many different directions you can take. You can go to somebody to help you. It makes it an easier process. But if you want to do it yourself, and I think it's good to have both, actually, have the support, but also have the techniques and tools for yourself. I think meditation is a very good one, because what it does is it actually takes you back into balance. It allows you to access that subconscious mind. So even setting an intention before you start to meditate and say, please reveal to me any negative patterns concerning money and my finances that need to be cleared. You can do that before you go to sleep at night. You can do things like that. So that's one way, that you can do that quite easily. I absolutely agree with going into nature and getting out of the fight, flight, freeze area of the brain is also very important. And I also think just being very aware of your environment. So what are you surrounded by? We're surrounded by adverts, for example. So adverts are sort of going straight into our subconscious mind, sometimes with us not even being aware of it. We might be talking to somebody else or doing something, and then just it's being downloaded, all this information, these symbols, all this sort of just almost the selling aspect of, this is a fabulous pair of shoes, it's the latest thing, Donald Trump, did I not see that Donald Trump produced some golden sneakers or something, and they sold out within a few seconds? Was I on a different planet, or was that true? I don't know.
No, that was true.
Was
At
it true?
SneakerCon. Yeah, he sold a pair of, I guess it was like 3 of them, but
Yeah,
they sold
something
out really fast.
really
Yeah.
quickly like that. So
Yeah.
I think the thing is, be aware of what you're actually taking into your subconscious. Because if, for example, you are just spending, where's that impetus coming from? So I would say really have a look at your environment and what people are saying and what you're being indoctrinated with, really.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And it's so true. We live in an environment where there is so much every day, especially with social media. And it's like, yes, and we're not aware of how much it affects us. So thank you for sharing that. Sarah, what about you? Would you like to share anything on how, what we can do to release these deep-seated beliefs that affect our vibration and so we can raise our vibration? You are muted, Sarah. We can't hear you. Sorry.
For me, I've noticed there's 3 core sales wounds, money wounds, whatever you want to call them, that I had to clear for myself and that I clear for my clients. I just call them woo-woo sales blocks, but they're money blocks. The ancestral wound, the witch wound, and the prostitution wound. What I find is once we clear these big ones, a lot of other little ones just dissolve on their own because they're all attached to the big ones. So my invitation would be to find that main one. And I love how Lily was saying before, you know, she faced her fears head on. Often when you go to that biggest thing you're afraid of, it'll start to dissolve. And again, a lot of other things will dissolve around that. So, you know, again, it's so different for everyone. This is a theme that I have noticed. You know, those big wounds, dissolve them. A lot of things will just fall away from those. But I guess, like I said, the invitation is to have a look at that and ask yourself, what are my biggest money fears? What's the worst thing that could happen to me? For me, it was losing it all. That was my big block to success, because I watched my mum lose her house and everything. So I thought, if I make money, I'll lose it all. So I had to clear that. I had to clear that first up to start allowing money to flow into my life. You know, my grandmother was raised in South Africa. She didn't own a pair of shoes till she was 18 years old.
Yeah.
Scarcity money stories coming through the bloodline there. So, you know, I'm really proud of where I am today and what I've been able to assist my clients to do. But it's really about taking that self-responsibility and going, okay, I'm ready to shift this. What have I got to do? Can I do this myself? If I can't, who can support me?
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And before we go, when we finish off, I would love to know how you actually cleared that. Or if you'd like to tell us very quickly, how did you actually clear all those wounds stuff?
So many ways. I started off with Reiki, became a Reiki master, became a quantum Reiki grandmaster. For me, I noticed the biggest shift started happening when I started taking soul journeys. So going back to other lifetimes, forward to future lifetimes, brought through sacred soul alignments, went and learned that. But it was clearing the beliefs, and you can do that so many ways. For me, when I first started clearing beliefs, I used a pendulum and asked to connect with my higher self. I'd find the beliefs I had and I'd ask her to clear them. I'd test it. Yep, they're cleared. Okay, is there anything else connected to these beliefs?
Love it.
So many ways you could do it. They all work.
Thank you for sharing that. And before we finish up, I'd like to invite everyone, and especially Sarah, to give your details and what you offer to people, including all that. So thank you. But I do know that Lily has to leave us very soon, and we are coming to the end of our wonderful conversation. So I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Really, really appreciate it. But can we finish off with our last question? And we'll start with Lily. So Lily, how can communities come together? I mean, we've talked about all the stuff from, you know, generations and things now, and what's affecting us today in society. So how can we come together to support each other in really raising our vibration that thereby affects our financial wealth?
So it's a really good question. I think the way I've noticed the people who seem to make a difference with that, there's two things. One is, I think when you meditate, anyone who's on a spiritual path, they're helping raise the consciousness. So I feel like they're healing the environment and other people and their energy because they're blocked or negative or fearful. The second is role models. When a person decides, like Tiffany decided to be her own role model, right? My mother was, I'll tell you a story that still shocks me. She came to this country with $3 from India, knowing no one. I mean, how the woman did this, I can't even take it. And she decided she was going to make it. She had a job, right? So the job paid for a flat, but that was it. You know, she had to budget. She had to really believe that it was going to be there. And she helped her brothers and sisters. She helped her parents every month on this limited thing. And I thought she had the courage to try. So part of it is you have to try to break these barriers. Some people are so stuck in this, like, I can't do it. Oh, poor me. You know, I'm sure you guys have seen it as financial coaches, Charlotte and Sarah, and they don't even try to be a bigger person than they are and risk failing. You know, you have to risk trying to give to people. You have to risk trying to make more, or follow your business idea, or consult with other people and trust that you're going to get some sort of good help. But I think when people see other people succeed, it's an inspiration. At least to me, it's an inspiration. I can tell you, I have a friend who is a computer genius, became a multimillionaire. I have another friend who's a wonderful medium, has worked her butt off. She's written books. She's worked with the police. She trained me to work with the police. She was on Coast to Coast this past weekend.
Yep.
And that's a huge radio show here. So I think these steps to success happen. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hog up the time. Sorry.
No, I just want to thank you because I know that you have to go. That's all. And
it was a great discussion, Sophia. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Okay, well, before you go, we have been putting everyone's details in the comments for people who are watching live and the replay. But would you like to share anything, Lily? What you offer? Anything that you've got on offer now?
I offer a lot. I offer. I do past lives if you need it. If you feel there's an issue that's stuck, that's stopping you in the present moment. I do dream interpretation. I also do future readings where I can give you timelines. I will ask for your age because I see a golden line and then certain events jump out, you know, your death points, the time you may get married, the time you get a great job, the time you have kids. There was one more thing. So it tends to have a much more ethical, integrated perspective because of my doctorate training. But I really do try to hear the person I meet them where they're at. So if you can't afford the prices listed, contact me anyway, because I will probably take your price and help you anyway, because I believe in helping people, and that has built up the client list tremendously. So never stop just because of money.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for sharing that. And thank you for your offer. And I said, and thank you for joining us. And I look forward to the next time that you are able to things like that. So thank you for that. Now, Charlotte, can we go back to you? What about you? First of all, tell us a little bit about if you've got anything to offer, but in your belief, how can we come together to support each other to raise the vibration of ourselves and the world?
Well, they say birds of a feather flock together. So I think that we spend time or try and join groups that are like-minded, that are going to support you. And some of the group will have certain talents, and others will have, others in other arenas. And you can just help each other with advice, with tools and things like that. The other thing is think outside the square, think differently. I mean, certain cultures, for example, the African culture, they have something called a susu. And a susu, basically what happens is every week, say you have a group of, 10 people. So every week, each of those 10 people give a certain amount of money to a person who acts as a treasurer. So say it's $500 or something. So they all give that. And then on the first week, the number one in the 10 gets all that money. Then in the second week, so each week, rather than just having 500, you've then got 5,000. And you can do so much more with 5,000, and you can think about investing. And it's like a savings, and you're unable to tap into it. So you're not going to waste it. Think outside the square. Think of ways in which you can work together, work with others to support you and to support you in your financial health. And in terms of at the moment, I work very much with Move Forward and helping them to manifest. So I have a course on meditating and which is very much to do with this. It's all to do with clearing those things that are holding you back and then being able to manifest what you would like in your life.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for that. And Tonga, what about yourself? What can we do? What can the community do to come together to help support everyone to raise their vibration?
Yeah, I love this question. It's such an important one, and really it's simple. You hold space for whoever wants to talk to you about your money, and be aware of your own biases. And that's such an important thing. When you do the work and you become aware of your own narratives. So I've got grandchildren. My granddaughter is 13. She's just gotten a part-time job. So they said, man, can you teach, Jada about money? And I'm like, actually, you know what? I'm going to do better. I went out and I purchased the Barefoot Kids, and I watched it myself, because if I had started from scratch, I really wish I'd had something like that in my hands. So the reason I did that, even though I'm the one with the money and everything, I still have biases. I'm still going to be layering some of her feedback, which is unfair to her, based on some of the thoughts and feelings that will come through from me. So, and sometimes, you know, if we're not aware of our biases, you can shut that person down even without even knowing it energetically. So I think in terms of how do we support each other in community, be aware of your own stuff. And you may not be healed and you may never get healed, and that's okay. It's that awareness, because then when we've got that awareness, we get to ask ourselves, whose shame is that, right? One of the things that we ask in the trauma of money is create space and time, right? So create space. Whose shame is that? Where do you think that comes from? Because all of a sudden now, instead of me putting it on myself, oh, I get that. This is the part of me that was. So with all of the different modalities that we've had mentioned here, the biggest thing is you're listening to this from Sacred You, right? And I have or had a tribe in here called the Soul-Led Money, but that's not one of my, you know, like I don't have modalities. And the reason why I part myself in Sacred You is because I know all the other tribes do. So understand how to resource yourself. What's a resource? It could be meditation, it could be yoga, it could be dance. Find that thing that lights your soul up. And that's the piece that helps you ground. And then that little piece of your brain comes back into action, and then you get to make some really powerful decisions. So yeah, holding space, getting into community. You're in a community right now because you're watching this from somewhere, and start delving, asking the questions. It's there for you. It's there for your taking.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. And tell us a little bit about what you're offering.
Oh, yes. So I have an app. It's called Plony. It is just in design phase. And the reason for that is I'm too close to it. So I bring in people at $30 a month where you will go through it and you'll say, Tanga, that's too much, too soon. You've just gone straight over the head. You know, well, I don't get why this piece goes on here. A couple of bits of things that you can take away from it is how do you then understand where some of these layers are coming from. And there is no healing. This is about creating awareness and then creating resources available to you. So we move through that into money literacy, and that's when the piece around money literacy comes in. So that's what I do.
Thank you for sharing that. And again, for everyone who is watching, and we do have a few people watching, first of all, thank you for watching. Click on the links below for all these wonderful women and connect with them and check out Tanga's app. Definitely. Sarah, last but not least, tell us your beliefs. How can we come together as a community to help to raise our vibration? And then, yes, tell us a little bit about what you've got on offer.
Yes, well, again, it's been said before, beautiful spaces like this and groups where you feel good and aligned to be in those spaces. Intention is a big one for me. I intend that as I do it for myself, I do it for all. And I see it as little, you know, each time a woman clears and ascends a bit more and more, someone else does. And we've got all these beautiful lights that just keep lighting up and sparking across the planet, because it is a global event as we heal.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can just find me at newearthschool.com.au. I've got a little freebie section there where you can find a free course that I run called Activate Riches, and I actually go deeper into the witch wound, the prostitution wound, and the ancestral wounds.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we will certainly check that out. So thank you. And again, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to our beautiful VAs who have been putting, who've been putting all your links in. And Tiffany, really, it's been a wonder or an honor to have you with us. Do you have any last words before I finish up?
I just want to say thank you. This has been amazing. I've been busy writing a bunch of notes down. And I love that each of us have been on a different spiritual path to seek the same thing of global enlightenment, wealth in the communities. And it's it just shows you, right, that there's so many different ways to achieve the same goal. And I think that's wonderful. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like it's been an honor. And like I said, it's been an honor to be able to present today's panel discussion. And I'm Sophia from Sacred You. Do click on the links below. Check out all our upcoming panels. We offer roughly 2 panel discussions on a variety of topics that empower us in all different ways each week. And you're more than welcome to come and join us for that. But take a little step more, and why not join Sacred You? Because you can join us just for $1, and for that you get 2 weeks to try out all our tribes. We recommend starting off with 3. We have, without going through them all, but 3 really good ones. We have Mastering the Law of Abundance. If anyone wants to know about how you can really get in to those deep wounds and heal them, come and join the Mastering the Law of Abundance. We also have Money, Mindset, and Manifestation Magic, another great tribe that helps us to learn about the art of manifesting. And Alison, who is the host of the Human Design, she was supposed to facilitate today's discussion, but was unable to make it, hosts the Human Design Tribe, which when you get to know about your human design, it really helps you with your whole life, including finances. I'm not going to go into more on that because it's a whole different language, but thoroughly recommend that. Lots of other tribes that you can just try out in those 2 weeks just for $1. And then after that, it's only $30 a month to continue. And you can try tribes out at any time throughout your membership. You're not just restricted to those 3, and we have about 20 other tribes that you can try. So do click on the links below to check all that out, and come and join us for next week. Got no idea what it is, but come and join us for our this week, our next panel discussion. Or everything is below in the comments. And just thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been an honor.
Thank you.